Good morning and welcome to the Board of Regents meeting for Friday, April the 8th. We are glad that some of you are here just to find out what the heck goes on down here. So we're glad that you've joined us this morning as well. Let's call the roll, sir.
Hemmer? Regent Hemmer? Here. Regent Ibrahim? Here. Regent Cradaville?
Here.
Regent Limbach? Here. Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kinney?
Present.
Regent O'Connor?
Here.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen? Here. Regent Schaefer? Here. Regent Stark?
Here.
Regent Whites?
Here.
A quorum is present.
All right, very good. In your materials, you have a copy of the minutes from our meeting in February the 11th. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any comments or corrections? Let's call the roll.
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Kinney?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Passes.
As 2021 Audit Risk and Compliance Committee Chair, I'd like the minutes to reflect the following statement. In accordance with paragraph 27 of the Audit Risk and Compliance Charter, I am required to confirm that all responsibilities outlined in the committee charter have been carried out. I wish to so confirm to this board and request the minutes of this meeting reflect this.
Thank you, Regent Schaefer. The minutes of this meeting will reflect the statement that you just read, and we will put it in to today's minutes. In compliance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act, the board has posted a copy of the act on the south wall of the boardroom behind the seating area for the press. They will allow you to go over there and read and memorize all of that if you would like the opportunity to do that. On the other hand, if you'd rather stay awake, just know that it's over there and available. I have the honor of introducing our presentation topic for today's meeting. Today's topic is of particular importance to me, my district, and our state. The Kearney Health Opportunities Program, known as KHOP, is designed to provide healthcare professionals for rural Nebraska. Dr. Charlie Bisek, Senior Vice Chancellor at UNK, is here to introduce our presenter. And Charlie, the meeting is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, Regent Ferris. It's a pleasure to be with you all this morning, and it's indeed a pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Peggy Abels. Peggy has been the Director of Health Science Advising in the Health Science Office at the University of Nebraska at Kearney for 26 years. During the course of that time, she has more than tripled the number of students who undergo academic advising and ultimately matriculate into health science programs, upwards of 19 or 20 programs that she oversees. Peggy is a highly trusted and respected colleague across campus, but perhaps more importantly, she's highly trusted and respected and admired by students across campus because she in turn places them in positions to the tune of about 85 to 90% year in and year out across clinical professional programs at the University of Nebraska Medical Center and other locations as well. That tripling number, I would say optimistically, is poised to increase as we further expand our very positive and tight relationship with UNMC. Peggy Abels, thank you.
Dr. Bisek, and thank you, Board of Regents, for inviting me here today to talk about the Kearney Health Opportunities Program. As you are aware, we've had significant progress over the last decade in addressing rural workforce needs in Kearney, and the KHOP program is kind of a signature piece of that and was really one of the first collaborations that we formally put in place to address workforce with UNMC. So I'm going to begin today by giving you a little bit of background about health sciences in general. And so the health science program at UNK now has a little over 750 students across all of these different professions. So we provide a lot of different opportunities for our students to become engaged in careers in healthcare. And I think that that's one of the keys to our success is that we work with students to help them find careers that are going to be appropriate for them and paths that they can be successful on. So just a few facts before we talk about K-HOP. As I mentioned, we have a little over 750 students, and as Dr. Bisak alluded to, that number has grown significantly in the 26 years that I've been involved in the program. We often get asked what are the largest areas of interest for our students, and certainly medical school, nursing, physical therapy, radiography, pharmacy, and most recently occupational therapy are some of the areas that students are most interested in. These are 750 very successful students, and we're very proud of our acceptance rates at UNK, and we work very hard with our students to ensure that they have the tools and skills that they need to become competitive applicants. 87% over the last 5 years of applicants from UNK have been accepted to a health professions training program. So 601 out of 692, that's a lot of students we're putting out into the healthcare workforce, and we're very proud of that. In fact, last year, in the fall of 2001, we matriculated 112 students, 90%. So that was a really stellar year for us. And 79% of those students are attending UNMC. So we're very pleased with our collaboration with UNMC, and it's going to yield good things for the state of Nebraska. I think the battery may be dead.
So now
Oh,
it's
there it
moving
went.
all over.
Okay, there we go. It's just a little delayed. Okay, so we'll jump in and talk about the Kearney Health Opportunities Program. So as you are aware, it's a collaborative program with UNMC, and the purpose of the program is to provide healthcare practitioners for rural Nebraska. So it is really a program that encompasses everything about workforce development. The benefits of the program is that students receive a full tuition scholarship at UNK and guaranteed admission to UNMC. We have also developed a freshman learning community that has really been a tremendous benefit to students in terms of improving retention and keeping those students moving forward on the path. Students also receive a $2,000 room waiver scholarship as part of that learning community. In exchange for those benefits, the students have to maintain a set of academic standards, as you might expect, and the students participate in a series of professional development activities that keep them moving along the pathway towards rural health care. For the state of Nebraska, the students commit to practicing in rural Nebraska when they're done with the program, which is really the most important piece of the contract. The eligibility requirements for the program are simply that you have to be a Nebraska resident and a graduate of a rural Nebraska high school as defined by UNMC. The only academic requirement is that students have an ACT composite of a 23. They apply for the program as a high school senior in the fall of their senior year. We work with 10 different programs at UNMC as part of K-HOP, and you can see them listed there on the screen. This particular slide also demonstrates the length of education for all of the different professions, and you can see the number of years at UNK and UNMC, and the number of formal positions available for each profession. So it is important to point out the number of years that it takes to train to train a student in the healthcare workforce and get them back out practicing in rural Nebraska. And so I'll give you a little bit of data about where we are with students that have successfully completed the program in a moment. Just realizing that the length of that education is an important component as we address workforce. So the K-HOP program started in 2010, and as I mentioned, it was really one of the first formal collaborations, and it really set the stage for additional collaborations, including the Health Science Education Complex and our exciting progress that we have potentially on the horizon. K-HOP was really the beginning of that formal arrangement. And it started with just pre-med students, and over time, we have continued to add the additional professions from UNMC to the program. So the program started in 2010. That first group of pre-med students matriculated to UNMC in 2014. Since that time, we've had 129 students from UNK matriculate to UNMC as part of the program. There are currently 102 students on the UNK campus in the pipeline. We accept 33 new students per year, plus additional alternates that we work with in the program as well. And the program attracts approximately 200 applications a year. And these are applications from very high-quality rural Nebraska students. The average ACT of these finalists is typically a 29. The average ACT of the pre-med applicants last year was a 27. So this is a talented group that we want to work with, encourage them to stay in rural Nebraska and become healthcare professionals. So as I mentioned, there are academic standards and participation requirements for the students when they're in the program. So this is definitely not a program where we give them a scholarship and wish them good luck. And we do hold them accountable. And so we have a freshman learning community that is really focused on that retention and academic success. We know that a lot of these students from rural Nebraska sometimes have challenges in transitioning to college. And we want to make sure that we're setting them up to be successful and providing them with the skills and tools, not only to be academically successful, but also to develop as a professional and as an individual. So it includes a formal mentoring program. It includes activities where we expose them to rural healthcare and help them network with rural healthcare providers. As part of that, we make annual trips with the group to UNMC in Omaha, and we tour rural hospitals. In fact, next week we're going to Ord, and the week after we're going to McCook. And so the students really appreciate those opportunities to get out and witness rural healthcare and talk to providers. We have additional meetings, speakers, and special events that they are required to participate in, and they're required to participate in campus and community volunteer and service projects to help develop them as professionals and leaders. One interesting fact about the development of the KHOP program, I guess I would say first and foremost, we never dreamed it would grow to quite the extent that it has, and it does not have a designated funding source. It has been built on the generosity and collaborations and partnerships, first and foremost of the UNK administration. The support of the Chancellor and Dr. Bisak have been critical in providing those tuition remissions and room waivers. We also work closely with the Central Nebraska Area Health Education Center. So UNK became the host site for AHEC in 2017. The mission of AHEC is also workforce development for rural Nebraska, so that overlapping mission helps us leverage resources to work with the KHOP program, and that's been a big benefit in developing and funding some of the activities that we do. We also have a network of rural hospitals that have committed to providing annual financial support that has helped to offset some of those costs as well. And so a little bit about a new program and our future vision. So we identify the KHOP program as a pipeline program, but really we built the back end of the pipeline first. And we have now come to realize that it's really important that that is a more comprehensive pipeline in terms of increasing students' awareness of what their options are in healthcare and recruiting them into the program. So we have a new program that we've launched at UNK just in the last 9 months called the Health Science Explorers. That pipeline will now work with students beginning in 7th grade, and 7th through 12th graders will have increasing opportunities to become engaged in hands-on experiences through camps, virtual career clubs, academies, and a whole series of events. So it's a great recruitment tool for KHOP and for UNK and for students into healthcare careers. In the first year of that program, we launched it last June, we've had 850 students visit our campus to attend these different events. So it exceeded our expectations greatly, and we're very, very happy to see these students interested in healthcare. The Health Science Explorers program also offers opportunities for students once they become an undergraduate student at UNK. They can join a second learning community called the Explorers Learning Community. So that provides us a program for all of the students that are not part of the KHOP program to also have those kinds of experiences that we provide to the KHOP students. So really the vision for the future is now we have a comprehensive pipeline that will start in 7th grade and help those students select healthcare careers and become engaged in rural healthcare and opportunities. Once they are a high school senior, they will now have the option of applying for KHOP if they are eligible. If they are not eligible or not accepted, they'll have the option to participate in this second learning community. So we're building a more comprehensive, more robust pipeline by adding this this introductory part of the pipeline. And we're very excited about the prospects with 850 in the first year. Who knows what will happen the second year, so. And I'd now like to open it up for any questions that you might have.
Peggy, I was wondering if the teaching hospital does go through, how does that change the numbers from, what do you say, 200 applications? Does it go to 600 applications? Or is there any vision on what kind of a game changer it would be?
I think there's a couple of things that definitely will be a game changer. When the first health science education complex opened in 2015, we saw a significant increase both in health science students at UNK in general and application numbers to K-HOP. Unfortunately, at the moment, we are at capacity in terms of tuition remissions and room waiver scholarships. We would like to have more opportunity to grow that program. You may have noted on the slide, there are some professions like physical therapy where we only have one formal position. So as application numbers increase, it would be nice to have more positions to offer to students. So that is something that we are concerned about. That's also part of why we developed the second program with the Explorers program, because we know with that increased interest, K-HOP will always be a selective program.
If I may, this is really exciting, and folks at UNMC find this program to be a jewel. People are really proud of this, so just really appreciate all the work that you're doing. There's so much research going on saying if we want to engage folks who are underrepresented in medicine, we do need to get them early. Having that piece starting in 7th grade, I'm really excited to hear that. How, with Nebraska being such a large state, how are you all engaging students in elementary ed and junior high and in high school to be involved?
So we are marketing to all of the Nebraska high schools, but we have even seen students coming from Kansas and Colorado to some of these camps and events. In fact, our virtual career club, which meets monthly, has students from all across the state. So by providing the virtual opportunity as well, we can engage a larger number of students. And we're providing a series of opportunities, some of which students register for and come as individuals, but some of which high school teachers are bringing buses of students. And that's really where the 7th and 8th grade students are. It's best to target them in that way. So we're developing a good network of relationships with teachers that are bringing groups of students to these camps.
Super, thank you.
Jim?
Congratulations. And you know, we talk about the state of Nebraska and how we're trying to grow the state or stop the shrinking of smaller communities throughout the state. And so we can control what we can control, and what we are able to control in this partnership that the university has with the state of Nebraska is we're able to control the part of educating students and providing them opportunities in these different areas. And so I remember when we kicked off the building a Healthier Nebraska program, and the Kearney Hospital, the Kearney Educational Center was part of that. And so at that time, I believe there was like 25 counties that didn't have a healthcare provider. And obviously that number is getting smaller. So I don't have a question. It's more of a comment that just says, thank you for what you're doing, because being able to provide health care to those rural counties is hugely important, particularly if we're trying to retain people in those counties and retain active, viable, small businesses in those counties. If there's no health care, nobody's going to stay there. And so I appreciate what you're doing in the partnership that we have with the state of Nebraska.
Thank you.
But also,
Excuse me. Go ahead, Jeff.
I just wanted to compliment you and thank you for all that you're doing. For point of reference for the members of the Board of Regents, the K-HOP program is actually one of 3. It fits in a nested series of the Rural Health Opportunities Program, which is similar with the state colleges, and then the Urban Health Opportunities Program, which is a partnership with UNO. It also fits hand in glove with our High School Alliance programs and our UBEATS programs, which lead directly into relationships in not just in the high school part of the K-12 equation, but into middle school. And we exceeded 10,000 participants last year with a goal to get up to, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Davies, 40 to 45,000 students in the K-12 school system to try to incentivize them into careers in the health professions. And I'd also just like to point out that these students that come from one of the Health Opportunities programs, many of whom could have never afforded to go to college or go to medical school or dental school without this program, have a completion rate of their health professions degree as good, if not better, frankly, than peers that did not come through this program. So this is a win-win for the state of Nebraska. Indeed, 85% of these graduates, when they finish their health careers, return to their rural roots, which is an astounding statistic, and is, you know, that's why we do this. So thank you for all of that.
Amen. Yeah.
I could just add something for what this means for students of UNK as well, real quick. Not only for the students that have the opportunity to be in this program, but the students outside of this as well. I personally do not have the K-HOP, but I have the opportunity to be friends with a lot of people who do, and they inspire me each and every day. These are the students that are in the front of the classroom. These are the students that are engaged. These are the students that are passionate about Nebraska, rural Nebraska specifically, and bettering our state. And Peggy and her team have just cultivated this environment of success, and it's been so impressive and it's infectious to all of UNK. So it is important that we continue to resource this and make it as successful as possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Noah.
Peggy, on behalf of the board and our university system and all the people in Nebraska, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for putting a spotlight on this pioneering, groundbreaking work. As Dr. Gold pointed out, it's one of a few, but I would say it is a gold program for us. And again, thank you for your great work.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me today.
Great to have you here. All righty, as we're making a little transition here, at the beginning of each of our Board of Regents meeting, we do take some time to recognize people who all too often don't get the recognition that they really deserve for the jobs that they're doing. Our board believes it's very important that we acknowledge the commitment of our employees in the various campuses, as well as your contributions to the university. To be nominated is an honor in and of itself. So we will be moving into the kudos presentations. As these are announced, please come forward to the podium, join the regent who will be making the presentation. Following each of these presentations, we'll take a picture. Will appear on our website. The photographer has promised me that he will get the right picture the first time, every time, with each one of the people. So it will be only, a quick one picture and we're done. Not really. The President, the Chancellor, the recipient's family are invited to join in for that photo. First kudos recipient this morning is someone that I have known for a long time. She's not that old, I am. First kudos recipient is Jody Holt from the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and Regent Limbaugh will be making that presentation.
Good morning, Board of Regents. The Board of Regents is pleased to recognize Jody Holt, Director of Undergraduate Admissions and Recruitment at the University of Nebraska at Kearney, with the Kudos Award. Since joining UNK in February of 2021, Jody has, to quote colleagues, hit the ground running. She has overseen rapid change, particularly in the hiring and training of new recruiters, developed new strategies for campus visits and events, and worked closely with communications and marketing and the Office of Financial Aid to more effectively communicate and nurture relationships with prospective students. She has maintained a clear focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, prioritized transfer student enrollment and enrollment technology, and ignited campus-wide initiatives to improve experiences and for prospective and continuing students and their families with her energy and enthusiasm. And let me just tell you, I don't work with Jody day to day, but the energy and enthusiasm part of that needs to be bolded and underlined because the energy she brings to UNK is, again, infectious, and we're all lucky for it. Jody's team has pioneered efforts and expanded access through bilingual tours, special events, and materials for campus guests. The data demonstrates her success. Last fall, UNK recorded the highest increase among Nebraska colleges in first-time freshmen, 16%, including a 70% increase in out-of-state freshmen. Jody is originally from North Platte, where she graduated from St. Patrick's High School and earned her bachelor's degree at Nebraska Wesleyan. Her commitment to the University of Nebraska dates back to 2003, where she began working at UNL and where she later earned her master's degree in educational psychology. Quote, "I have been working in higher education for nearly 2 decades and can't imagine doing anything else. Most recently, the accomplishment she is most proud of is the increase in UNK enrollment this past fall as noted above. And looking forward, there is more growth to come. No doubt she has and continues to positively impact hundreds of students by helping them reach their potential as college graduates. Our congratulations to Jody Holt. Her commitment to students and the university, her innovative leadership and spirit of teamwork, and her notable accomplishments have earned her this recognition. We also wish to welcome Jody's husband, Tim Holt, who is with us today.
Find a spot.
Award is going to be presented by Regent Limbaugh. No, that was, we just did that.
In Limbaugh's novel.
Regent Ibrahim.
Yes, the Board of Regents is pleased to present a Kudos Awards to Alex Fernando, Recruitment Coordinator for the College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Alex has been the embodiment of staff excellence since joining the university 3 years ago. According to his nominator, Dean Sherville, he goes above and beyond every day. Whether meeting with the Office of Admissions, giving a tour to prospective students and parents, or presenting at Red Letter Day, Alex shares his long life passion for the university. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of all things Husker and consistently demonstrates an extraordinary high level of enthusiasm and commitment. Alex has built an ambassador program that gives students the chance to sharpen their presentation and promotional skills and regularly organizes opportunities to engage in professional development. In addition, he launched a high school mentor program pairing prospective students and current students in a series of organized activities designed to help with college and career exploration. Alex has also helped launch a registered student organization, This Circle, to give all students a safe space to meet and discuss issues of concerns. He has also grown the college a la carte workshop program for Nebraska high schools, arranging for faculty to travel to high school classrooms and give hands-on presentations to students. In his spare time, he roots for the Huskers on all his personal podcasts and pursuing his master's degree in business administration and getting a pilot's license. Joining Alex today are his father, Emil Fernando, his brother Brian, grandparents Fran and Ron, Aunt Jennifer, and Uncle Joe Basquette, and Haley Hamill, representing Dean Sherville, who couldn't be here. Please join me in thanking Alex Fernando for his dedication to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
No, I won't pass it. I'll just leave it.
We move over this way just a little bit. We're gonna have to run another space. This is amazing. Oh yes, you are. If you're not in the shot, we can't do it.
Mark will present our next Kudos Award.
Thank you. On behalf of the Board of Regents, I'm pleased to present a Kudos Award to Stephen Smith, an instructional technologist at the UNMC College of Nursing. For more than 15 years, Stephen has worked with the HEROES program, short for Healthcare and Emergency Responder Organization Education through Simulation. The program provides emergency preparedness training and education for healthcare providers and students from Omaha to Scottsbluff and beyond. Said his nominator, Stephen is an essential element of what has made HEROES a national and international asset. Stephen's focus on innovation has led to media and learning experiences that changed emergency preparedness across Nebraska, the country, and the world. He's worked with key provider partners ranging from UNMC College of Allied Health Professions to United States Air Force. Stephen has a way of melding with all personalities, races, and creeds in a way that feels seamless, his nominator said. A problem solver and a stickler for quality work, Stephen routinely delivers more than we ask, his nominator said, whether that is through instructional resources or assisting with hands-on instruction. And I'm told Stephen is an expert in isopods, portable patient isolation devices. You've probably seen those on TV, pretty impressive with the Ebola patients. These provide a negative pressure environment to transport patients known or suspected to have Ebola or another pathogen. Stephen's instructional media resources have already been used by national groups, including the U.S. State Department. Today, Stephen is joined by his family, and please join me in thanking Stephen for his commitment to elevating emergency preparedness training and instruction for the energy he brings to his team and to his work. Congratulations.
Lorraine Street of the University of Nebraska at Omaha is our final recipient today, and her award will be presented by Regent Kenny.
Good morning. The Nebraska Board of Regents is proud to present the Kudos Award to Lorraine Street, a clerical assistant in the Office of Field Experiences within the College of Education, Health, and Human Sciences at UNO. A noted problem solver, the student advocate, and resource for her peers, Lorraine has exemplified UNO's maverick spirit through her dedication to supporting future educators as they transition from being a student in a classroom to learning how to lead one of their own. One of the nominators writes, "Students and faculty seek her out because they know she will always take the time and find the answers to their questions." If you know Lorraine, you can count on her to see every situation through to the end, another nominator writes. I have personally watched her contact students when they need their guidance. As someone who's a very strong institutional knowledge, Lorraine is just a hard worker, but the resource is a resource for her colleagues. She has been with UNO for many years, and much of her knowledge to share with the rest of the college in her office, the nominator writes. Within all her responsibilities, she always is available to answer questions or train new staff members. Her commitment to student success, attention, and willingness to go above and beyond in her role, Lorraine is a true example of excellence and service to strive across the University of Nebraska system. Joining Lorraine today is Dr. Mary L. Tolup, Lorraine's supervisor, Dr. Jackie Proctor. Please join me in congratulating Lorraine on her dedication to UNO.
All right, scratch that. 7 to 10 minutes.
Okay, this is a special day for our student regents. This is the last board meeting for them, so we will be launching into that. Our kudos guests are most welcome to stay, observe these other recognitions and the balance of our stimulating and exciting business meeting. But if you wish to leave, we will take absolutely no offense at that. And you may do so at this time. So thank you for your contributions to our university. Congratulations. Our student regent resolutions, the first one will honor Noah Limbach, and it's going to be presented by Regent O'Connor.
Good morning. I am honored to present the Board of Regents resolution recognizing Regent Noah Limbach. Whereas Noah Limbach has served with distinction as a member of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents and president of the Associated Students of the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and whereas Regent Limbach has interacted with members of the Board of Regents and university administration with maturity and professionalism, and has fostered an especially collegial and collaborative relationship among the student regents that included a Visit UNK weekend. And whereas Regent Limbach's communication of the student views to the administration, his commitment to teamwork, and his thoughtful and innovative leadership have earned him the trust and respect of UNK students, faculty, and administration. And whereas in tireless support of UNK students, Regent Limbach has been instrumental in introducing and accomplishing an impressive array of important initiatives, from sustainability awareness to meal plan options that provide greater flexibility, from bookstore options that offer lower textbook costs and greater academic resource access, to moving the class drop late to later in the semester, from study of a new campus merchandise model to advocating and working with UNK counselors, and from ensuring that planned library renovations encompass the student vision to advocating for increased recreational space and student parking. And whereas Regent Limbach has enthusiastically and expertly engaged with the greater Kearney community as well as the campus community in effectively promoting UNK priorities such as rural health and University Village. And whereas Regent Limbach has made a profound impact on the University of Nebraska at Kearney as a student, leader, and a role model. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the University of Nebraska Board of Regents expresses its most sincere appreciation for the outstanding and impactful contributions of Regent Limbach during his term of office and wishes him well in the promising future that awaits him. Thank you, Regent Limbach.
Noah, come out here. You'll sing after that. Now you sing.
Hopefully, Dr. Bisek's not going too. We'll meet you up there. Chancellor skipped out on this one, but I'll let you skip out. I'll preface this, I was in an honor choir back in my day, but that was 10 years ago, so please pretend I never even said that. I have some background music, but if we don't.
Begin.
Acapella. All right, want to lead us off?
Come on and fight for UNK. March on to victory all the way. Keep up your fighting spirit. We'll always cheer it. That's what we're here for. That's what we'll cheer for. Fight for the blue and gold. Cheer for the blue and the gold. And together we stand proud of the best in the land. We fight for UNK. Kearney, go Lopers. Kearne. Kearne. Kearney.
All right, our next resolution will be honoring Batul Ibram from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and this resolution will be presented by Regent Schaefer. Cheated Noah out of a little opportunity to make a statement, too. We just got right into that fight song for UNK. I know they were so stimulated, but...
Whereas Batul Ibrahim has served with distinction as a member of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents and president of the Association of Students of the University of Nebraska, ASUN, for the 2021-2022 term, and whereas Regent Ibrahim worked with administrators and important campus stakeholders to ensure a safe campus and in-person instruction through leadership on the University of Nebraska COVID-19 Task Force by advocating for flexible student accommodations and improved academic policies. And whereas Regent Abraham's administration has created a Sexual Misconduct Presidential Committee, which is tasked with understanding the history of sexual assault on campus while engaging in past and current efforts that are being made to change the campus culture. And whereas under Regent Abraham's leadership, ASUN passed resolutions and submitted testimony in support of numerous bills in the Nebraska legislature that directly benefit the University of Nebraska, including a letter writing campaign for LB 519, providing immunity for arrest and prosecution for certain offenses for witnesses and victims of sexual assault. And whereas Regent Ibrahim has prioritized diversity, inclusion, and equity-related projects with ASUN government and across the university system, such as an official land acknowledgement, the Equity Grant Project, and work closely with communities and organizations who have been historically excluded from student government, and has used her identity and experiences to further the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's goals toward equity and inclusion so that every Husker feels welcome. And whereas Regent Abrahams has focused on increased transparency and improved communication efforts with UNL leaders through town halls, listening sessions, and other feedback-centered events, especially related to key student concerns. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the University of Nebraska Board of Regents expresses sincere appreciation for Regent Abraham's exemplary service and effective leadership as a member of the board and wishes her well in all of her future endeavors. That's a nice look.
You gotta go back.
This is just the fight song. Just the fight song, right? Okay. So in the embodiment of there's no place like Nebraska, we can't be Nebraska without the people of Nebraska. So will the fellow Huskers in the room please join me in singing our amazing fight song? Vice President Boehm, Chancellor Green, Mike Zeleny, EVC Ankerson, please join. Yes, all of us together. Okay.
Come on.
Oh, Steve, President Colby, please.
Come on, Steve.
Yeah, don't leave the faculty senate president out.
Yeah.
Choir, and then
Okay.
none started to cry.
Ready?
True story. True story. How can you be a priest? You can't sing. Mouth the words and stand in the back.
Ready?
No, yeah, look like yourself.
There is no place like Nebraska. Dear old Nebraska, you. The coast are the fairest, the coast are the fairest of any old place that I knew. There is no place like Nebraska, where we're all true blue. We'll all stick together in all kinds of weather for dear old Nebraska, you. Go Big Red! Go Big Red! Go Big Red! Go Big Red!
You can circle back to me. All right, well, I had too much fun singing the fight song. We forgot about some remarks here. Can't skip over that, though.
And you were so good at it.
Don't lie to me now.
You want to sing again?
Ernie, Kenny, you're close enough. You can join us. Amherst is down the road. This is a very bittersweet moment for me, and I want to start off with just a little bit of a story. When I was a junior in high school, I had no idea what my future held. I was a decent student, but nothing special. I had no idea what my future held, and I wasn't involved in really much of anything. I was passionate about the sports I was involved with, but that's about it. When it came to college, I knew that I wanted to go, but I wasn't sure about the feasibility of that due to finances. I was pretty set on attending community college to complete my gen eds and then just hoping to end up at UNK or UNL down the road. Fast forward to late in my senior year of high school, and I was blessed with the Susan Thompson Buffett Scholarship, along with a few others specific to UNK, and was finally able to not stress about finances in higher education. I tell this story because I am who I am today because of the ultimate affordability of UNK, thanks to the opportunities that they offer. It has been an absolute privilege to serve this incredible campus, and I'm extremely excited to watch it continue to grow and compete with the best of the best. Finding a way to describe this past year has been extremely difficult for me, partly because I'm not the best with words, but mostly because this opportunity has developed me so much as a person, and I'm not sure if I fully absorbed it yet. I came into this role as an exercise science student who knew nothing about politics. Talking about politics in my home was pretty taboo, but thanks to the amazing experiences that I've been involved with, thanks to everyone here, I've become passionate about policy and serving the great people of not only UNK, but Nebraska. Now, I can't admit that talking about budgets is quite my favorite thing yet. Sorry, Mr. Kaborik. But being engaged in the change that this body is responsible for is inspiring. promising students a 4-year path to graduation, offering free tuition to those whose households make less than $65,000, and making higher education more accessible to those from underprivileged or military backgrounds are just a few examples of the amazing work that this board does on a daily basis. I have a lot of people to thank for this adventure, and I could spend this whole time here thanking people, but I'll try to keep it quick. First and foremost, I want to thank my student regents. Taylor, Maeve, Batul, thank you so much. I'm so glad we've gotten so close this past year. Thank you for serving as sources of inspiration for me. I'm very proud to call each of you my friends, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for you and our friendship. You've done amazing things in your roles here, and I know that the future is going to follow that trend. Chancellor Christensen couldn't be with us here this morning, but I want to thank him for being the best role model I could ask for in this position. The work he's done in the community, in the state legislature, and at UNK is work that's been so impactful that it will never be replicated. We at UNK are so incredibly lucky to have his one-of-a-kind leadership. Each member of the board, thank you. Thank you for taking me under your wing, inspiring me, and helping me find myself and my passion. To President Carter, thank you for defining leadership day by day. You're an inspiration to the entire state of Nebraska. To Chancellor Green, Chancellor Lee, Chancellor Gold, thank you. Thank you for showing us the effectiveness of collaborative leadership and for the relentless work you are doing to grow your respective campus at an unprecedented rate. To the staff of Varner Hall, thank you for all the work that you do. You have truly been the glue that has held us together this past year, and your work is invaluable and greatly appreciated. I'm going to circle back to the affordability of UNK here real quick, as the impact this made on my life and my upbringing kind of became a theme in my time as student body president. And graciously, Regent O'Connor kind of summarized all of that earlier, and thank you again, Regent O'Connor, for that. Just kind of trying to soak all this in. This past year at UNK, student affordability and accessibility have been impacted more than ever. We just announced a new textbook provider for our campus that will drastically decrease the price of academic resources, while also providing the opportunity for more resources to be accessed than ever. This has also made a significant impact on the affordability of Loper merchandise, which has historically been a concern of students, as you know, we want to rep Lopers, but we're college students. We will also be proposing revised meal plan structures that increase student affordability and flexibility for not only on-campus students, but also commuters who traditionally haven't been prioritized in this process. I'm also very proud of the work done in regard to mental health this past year. The Board of Regents set the precedent, and we took that and did work at UNK. We have found a way to implement peer counselors on campus, which is utilized across the system, while still giving students, this is mutually beneficial service to both students and counselors by decreasing counselor workload significantly, while also still giving students the help that they deserve. Committing to financially support mental health resources must be a priority of the university moving forward. Unfortunately, I don't have time to touch on all the initiatives our Student Senate accomplished this past year, but I want to thank them for their masterful work and all their dedication. Being a kid born and raised in Kearney, I can only hope that I left a positive impact on our community and left things better than I found them. This sentiment is no surprise to anyone who knows me, as I feel like I annoy people with the frequency in which I talk about how much I love Kearney and Nebraska. With that being said, it was an incredibly hard decision for me to choose to pursue my doctorate of physical therapy out of state. I say this in this setting because I'm making a promise to myself, along with everybody else here who has helped me along the way, that I will be returning to the state of Nebraska. Thank you all for helping in the most influential year of my life, and I hope to continue to repay all of you. Thank you.
All right, this next resolution is for Taylor Cradaville, and we're having that presented by Regent Whites.
It is my joy to present a resolution for Taylor Cradaville as a student regent at the university. Interesting language. Whereas Taylor Cradaville has served as a member of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents and as the president of the University of Nebraska Medical Center Student Senate during the 21-22 year term. And whereas Regent Cradaville am I putting a V in there? Where I shouldn't?
Cradaville is correct.
Cradaville.
Silent CH is tough.
So, yeah. Whereas Regent Cradaville represented himself, his institution, and his fellow students with dignity and integrity during board meetings and events, and has served as a vocal and unwavering advocate to students throughout UNMC and the NU system. And whereas during the time as a student at UNMC, Regent Cradaville and his students, regents, family, faculty, staff, mentors, and university leaders dealt with unprecedented challenges. During a pandemic that brought economic and health anxiety, changed the way we learn and teach, and other often disrupted everyday life in ways large and small. And whereas Regent Cradaville not only faced these challenges as an individual, but took on leadership and support roles to ensure that we and all the individuals and communities that make up our university make it through while continuing the momentum that is so crucial to our individual and shared success. And whereas during his time as a student at UNMC, Regent Cradaville has carried out these leadership positions and responsibilities while balancing the demands of a medical education. And whereas Regent Cradaville with the UNMC Student Senate helped to lead UNMC students in efforts related to health and wellness, community building and transparency, resource distribution, and student advocacy and representation. And now, therefore, it be resolved that the University of Nebraska Board of Regents expresses its sincere appreciation for Regent Cradaville's dedicated service and effective leadership as a member of the board, and we wish him every success in all your endeavors.
Thank you. So this obviously puts anybody from UNMC in a difficult position every year. For those of you that don't know, UNMC neither has a mascot nor a fight song. There have been a lot of iterations that have gone on through the years. I am happy to say, though, we're currently working with Dr. Davies. We're in the process of trying to identify a mascot and a fight song over this next year. But here I am. I don't have much to do here. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I started thinking about what I could do for an interim mascot. I shopped it around to a couple of administrators saying, what could we be looking for? And the one that kept on sticking out in my mind is something that wraps in healthcare and also something fun and playful and cute. And I decided on the Hippocratic hippos. It was pointed out to me that the Hippocratic Oath is typically reserved for medical education for physicians. And I don't think this will be a viable long-term option for that reason. But like an artist, I need to share my work. I'd already written the fight song, so we're going to do it. I passed out some lyrics to our regents and our chancellors, and I'd love for you to tag along. And I believe Maestro Charles has some audio queued up for us here.
Oh, Maestro Charles.
Maestro Charles.
2, 1. All right. I am a hippopotamus for grad school. Only the Hippocratic Oath will do. I don't want you to get the stinking flu, so take this little vaccination, you will not achoo. I am a hippopotamus for grad school. Only the Hippocratic Oath will do. Now follow me to UNMC, and we'll be safe and beat COVID-19. Thank you all for playing along. I appreciate it. I hope that doesn't show up in a job interview at some point. But we've had a really heck of a year, and I think it not only applies to our state and our schools, but the country as a whole. And a lot of that will be pointing back to COVID. COVID's had direct impacts in that folks have gotten sick. Folks have had long-term sequelae of getting COVID-19. We've lost loved ones and leaders. I lost my grandpa just a few weeks before the vaccination was made available. Folks that we turn to in times of need, we oftentimes weren't available. And then there are those indirect impacts. This isolation, we saw a spike of anxiety and depression. We are oftentimes looking to help folks, but we can't because they're physically distanced. And we stack that on top of what students already experience when they go through higher education. It's stressful enough going through medical school, PT, OT school, undergraduate institutions, and we add this as an extra layer. But I think what's really been encouraging to me this year is that students have really responded and have really shown just how resilient they are and just how exciting our future is. In UNMC's Student Senate, we came into this year recognizing this. We came off a year where our whole school was remote. So we had a class of students, our to-be second-year students had never stepped foot on campus on top of our new first-year class who hadn't been on campus. So over half of our student body had never even been on campus. So our goal was really threefold. We wanted to set up programming for students so they felt welcome on campus. We wanted to support mental health and wellness, and then resource publicization and sharing of those resources. So what did we do for programming? Well, students launched the Green Space Series event where every Friday from about 3:30 to 5:30, students could come, get free food, spend some time outside, listen to music, and play yard games. Just an opportunity that students can get together when we haven't been able to do so for so long. On wellness, our Student Senate launched an opt-out counseling pilot program where students in the College of Pharmacy were scheduled a time with a counselor in UNMC's Counseling and Psychological Services just to give a face, to destigmatize mental health care and getting that support, which was a wild success, and we hope to expand that in these next few years. And then lastly, resource publicization. We ramped up our weekly UNMC Vitals newsletter to daily so that we can have a more constant contact and sharing with students how they can get involved and be connected. And I think with those big three, I could go on forever of all the things that we did this year, but those three initiatives were all student spearheaded and student led. And I think even though we had a lot of hard things that happened in this last year, I think we can walk away knowing that we have something to look forward to with the folks who are leaving our institutions in the University of Nebraska system. They're leaders, they're resilient, and we have a really bright future ahead in the state of Nebraska. So thank you all so much for a wonderful year. I have just had a ball, and I will certainly be in touch with all of you for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. Let's do a back hop. You don't have to repeat the song.
Okay.
But we didn't give you an opportunity to say a few words, so please.
Taylor, I want to say that was amazing. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to sing it for the rest of my life, so thank you for that. UNL has had a very difficult year. In retrospect, I think it's pretty naive that I thought the most difficult thing I would deal with would be COVID. While it was still one of the most pressing student issues we had to deal with at UNL, we also had to deal with sexual misconduct and the theatrics of politics due to our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as a student regent class, we dealt with issues that were unprecedented and continued to lead with integrity and the interests of our student bodies at the forefront. Our student government, in partnership with our university administration, faced this backlash in the way that every Husker would, with poise, respect, and the determination to do what is always right. Here are just a few things that our student government did this year. In a partnership with the state of Nebraska and the UNL COVID Task Force, we were provided KN95 masks to the UNL community to help alleviate the financial burden the pandemic had placed on our students, but also ensuring that we are keeping them safe during the pandemic. On the conversation of sexual misconduct, LB 519 was written, co-authored with UNL students, which created protections for someone who was arrested and provided protection for the bystanders who reported sexual assault to authorities. We also established a grant project that allocated $20,000 to a budget for student-led projects. One really cool project that's gonna come out of this is a group of students is planning to go to rural Nebraska where the college retention rate is really low, and providing them with mentorship throughout the year with real UNL students who've experienced the same things that they have had. I've reflected a lot on my year, especially watching the new Supreme Court nomination. And one thing that was said was being the first often means you have to be the best and the bravest. And this quote really provided a synopsis of my experiences this past year, being the first Black student body president. I grew up in some of the most low-income neighborhoods here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And as soon as my English was good enough, I started translating mail and government documents and whatever else my immigrant parents needed from me. I went to an underfunded and overcrowded high school and saw more of my friends drop out or find themselves behind bars than even dream of attending UNL. But that is a privilege that I got. I came to UNL and it changed my life and my perspective on leadership and service. I would never dream that I can stand here and say that not only am I a student regent, but that I'm a student body president. And I can say this because the investment that the University of Nebraska invested in me, believed in me, even when I did not believe in myself, and pushed me to soar high, higher than I ever thought I would make. There are a few things that our student government did this year, but I always want to say that students were our only stakeholders throughout this whole year. That it couldn't have been done without the student activists who also held us accountable. So thank you to the leadership from Divest NU, the Black Student Union, the Asian Student Union, and countless other student groups. Thank you for your leadership. For the past 2 years, every position I have held has only been to increase my capacity to serve those exact students at the university. I want to thank the University of Nebraska-Lincoln for believing in me, for making me believe that I can do whatever I want. I want to thank the board for teaching me the most important principles of service and leadership. And I want to thank my student regents for teaching me some of the most sentimental emotions that I will hold for the rest of my life. Thank you. That is my reflection.
Our last recognition of student regent this morning is Maeve Hemmer from UNO, and Regent Claire is going to make that presentation.
Privileged to be here to present this to you. And you know, serving on the board is a true honor. I have one regret though, and my one regret on in my years serving on the board is the opportunity for the public not to be able to see the leadership that's coming up from the student side. You know, the college student gets a bad rap. They're lazy, they're entitled, they're all these things, but the public doesn't see and have the opportunity to work daily with some of these tremendous young leaders. And so I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm bullish about our future because of people like this. And do we agree on everything? No, but they are passionate advocates, and and our future is bright. And speaking of passionate advocates, I get the privilege of giving Maeve this resolution. So whereas Maeve Hemmer has served with distinction as a member of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents and president of the University of Nebraska at Omaha Student Government for the term 2021-2022. Whereas during her time as a student at the University of Nebraska Omaha, Regent Hemmer has held multiple campus leadership positions beyond president and regent while balancing the demands of a student and community leader. Whereas in all of her leadership roles, especially as a member of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents, Regent Hemmer has been an ally and a fierce advocate for her fellow students. And this passion that she has, she is passionate, and the passion and zealous advocacy is what's going to make her a great lawyer for her clients in the years ahead. Regent Hemmer, as a student body president, has worked diligently to open the lines of communication where they were needed and graciously challenged others to improve themselves in the entire student experience at UNO. Whereas during her term as president, Regent Hemmer led UNO's student government with integrity, criticality, and community, even against the backdrop of a global pandemic and social unrest. And whereas through a commitment to inclusion, a desire to better the world around her, and a thirst for justice, Regent Hemmer has gained the admiration and respect of the UNO administration, faculty, staff, and students, and this board. Now therefore be it resolved that the University of Nebraska Board of Regents commend Regent Hemmer for her outstanding service and her dedication to the University of Nebraska, and wish her success in all her future undertakings.
I think so. Charlie.
Yes. Be a trio. Oh, I love it.
One, two, three.
We will fight, fight, fight for our Mavericks. We will fight, fight, fight for our team. Everyone knows as the old whistle blows. We will shout, we will yell, we will scream, go Mavs! We will fight, fight, fight for our Mavericks. We will cheer so all fans will know. Be it win, lose, or draw, every Oklahoma, we will fight for UNO.
UNO. UNO.
Wow, that went better than I expected. Look at us. With like one more try, we could nail it. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. First, I just want to say thank you. It's really, truly been an honor to serve in this position and serve the most incredible student body. My time as UNO student body president and student regent is and will be an experience that has grown and challenged me in ways that I never expected, and I'll literally never forget it. I remember when I first started in this position, and I made this remark last night, that a lot of people said there's not many models like this. And so I think that's an important thing to note, is that there's not a lot of models in this country where students sit on the governing board of their university. I think, but more importantly, though, is that at the University of Nebraska, our board members and Varner Hall staff and our president and chancellors not only make space for us at the table, but they also engage us and empower us to provide our inputs into conversations. And so I know we haven't always agreed on things, but I just want you all to know that I've truly appreciate your intentionality to engage me in conversation and challenge me to present it in a way that is constructive, and basically just the way that you've cared for me this year. So there's a ton of people that I could thank, because really there's been so many people that have invested in myself and UNO through this year, but I just want to take a time to highlight a few people that are really close to me and I'll never forget. So President Carter and the chancellors, I'm sad Chancellor Christensen can't be here. Thank you for your leadership, mentorship, and care. I have never met a group of people that knows how to care for someone so well. The dedication that you five bring day in, day out to improve our university is really, really inspiring. And it's a thankless job, but I want you to hear thank you. I appreciate you guys. And I don't think there's anyone else that could lead the way that you all lead. The way that you empower young people to lead is unmatched and incredible. The staff at Varner Hall, love you guys. You really are the glue. You all have spent countless hours with me helping me understand audit. That was hard, but we got through it. And so just thank you for coming in day out and making sure that we understand what's going on and making sure that the university is trending upwards. There's no one else that I would want leading or caring or advocating for students. The student government at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, just an inspiring group of people. There's so much hunger for student advocacy, and there's really nothing that makes me more excited than seeing students own their voice, their agency, and demanding that they see their university be what they want it to be. It's been absolutely incredible to serve with them. And then finally, just a student body at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, your commitment to academic excellence with everything else that you have going on, as well as being involved in the community, is just amazing. The student body's commitment to equity and justice has been inspiring, and our commitment to just make it work through everything that's going on is something that I'll never forget. It has been the most incredible honor of my life to represent that student body. So we've had tons of wins this year, but I do want to take time to highlight just a few. Chancellor Lee, first year, it's been a privilege to serve with you and learn with you and grow with you. I can't think of a woman another woman that I would want to follow after your rigor and your passion for advocating for students and wanting the best. So thank you for just always serving all learners, all different identities, experiences. I know that your sheer passion and your commitment to seeing everyone succeed will take you very far. The NU Student Summit, earlier this semester, we had a student summer where all 4 campuses got to gather, and basically it was just a time for us to collaborate. And I think that is what the University of Nebraska is. It should be a place that students collaborate and meet and then leave with a bunch of different ideas of how they're going to do things. And so that was a huge win for this year. The 4 student regents got to lead it with the help of Heath and his team. And it was such an incredible experience for students to just leave inspired by one another. Our athletics is doing amazing. Volleyball and hockey had incredible years. Baseball is doing amazing. They're arguably the best team in the state. We have a GPA. We have a GPA of 3.8 on our athletics. And then our dance team won the national championship. We have 2 Goldwater scholars, which is a huge deal. We are searching for our inaugural director of legal services, which is huge to be able to provide students with legal services free of charge. So I'm super excited for that. And then to just highlight a few things that student government has been doing. We did a complete restructure of our student government this year, so completely rewrote our bylaws and our policy index to make us an association. So we're more accessible to the student body, and so that students feel like they have access to our leadership development initiatives that we work on. We also developed a first-generation student agency, and if you're familiar, student government has 6 agencies that are student-funded through our fees and student-led, and it is incredible to be able to provide students with money and resources to lead their population. We also developed a legislative affairs committee to foster space for students to be engaged with their state's policy leaders, and so there was tons of really good work that came out of that group. And then we also just completed elections. I don't know if Tori's here, but we just completed elections. So Tori Sims is going to be the new UNO student body president and student regent. Can't wait. Tori's going to be incredible. But I think the main thing that I just want to end with is just thanking my other student regents. You guys are just incredible. My mom used to always tell me about her friends that she met in college that are her lifelong friends, and that's what you guys are for me. So thank you for this year. Thank you for challenging me. Thank you for also being a very safe space. I can't wait to practice law together, and I can't wait to take my kids to you when they break their wrist or something, and then we'll go to you for physical therapy. So we've got it squared away. Yeah, I just want to end with thank you everybody for your support. It's been an incredible experience, and this is I don't have the words, but it has been an amazing year. So thank you so much, and I look forward to our next group of student regents. Y'all are going to do amazing.
I hope you leave here today with a feeling for why we have such high regard for the student regents and why we consider them to be an important part of the board and our ability to function representing people and our campuses, but most of all in those situations, our students. They've done a great job. It's been our privilege to have you here around this table. This is also the last time that, we should, I guess, just go ahead and if there's no objection, these resolutions, I'd like to just have them adopted by acclamation so that we can put it into the minutes of today's meeting. Is there any objection to that? Secretary, let's just show that in the minutes, please, that they have been adopted. And there's some other folks here that have made real contributions, sometimes ignored by a lot of the audience and a lot of the people, not realizing what these faculty folks are really doing here but we've appreciated their service. And UNL's Steve Colby, UNMC's Aaron Mose, and UNO's Liz Westling. This will be the last meeting for each of them. Derek has come on in midstream representing UNK, and so he has a ways to go yet in that situation before we can officially say thank you to you at the end of that time. But our policy bylaws call on the faculty at each campus to establish a faculty senate that's to be the official voice of the faculty on the campus that they represent. They address a wide variety of issues across the campuses. They advise and consult with students, staff, and administration on matters such as the budget, institutional planning, and academic standards. It's very important for us to have that arm represented on items that end up here that they have had an opportunity to look at, comment about, and give us some advice before they're on the table for some action. They're really called upon also to protect academic freedom, and they all serve us very well, and we thank you for that. Their diverse talents and interests represent the kind of faculty that makes a university great. So thank you for your dedication to your fellow faculty and to our university system. Please join me in thanking our faculty senate presidents for their service. And I apologize that you didn't get the official photo. No protest. And there's no song that you're required to do. We normally would have this opportunity for hearings. We don't have any today, but I would like to turn the meeting over to President Carter at this point for some comments and remarks that he might like to put on the table for today's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And obviously, we've spent a fair bit of time this morning at the Board of Regents meeting to honor and say thank you to our student regents. And I think it's really appropriate. I know we've had a lot of words here. We've heard from our student regents and student body presidents. But I want to just make one very short observation. This is my third year of seeing student regents. This is by far the most cohesive, most impactful, and most passionate group of student regents that I've observed. And we are excited for not only what you've done for us, but what your future holds, and we'll be tracking you very closely. Yesterday, the Board of Regents, as well as some of the other leadership, had a chance to visit the University of Nebraska-Lincoln campus. And I want to say thank you to Chancellor Ronnie Green and his whole team for hosting us. It was an amazing lineup. The presentations were fantastic, and we all recognize how much work that your campus put into it. And for everyone that was there, tremendous return on investment, so much to learn. Just again, thank you for doing that. You know, it's one thing to talk about all the great things that are happening at our university. It's another to see it for ourselves. So we all enjoyed the opportunity to see that. But you know, when we look across what we enjoyed yesterday and what we've listened to today, from the kudos to our student regents, the word that hits me that I think is the most important, we don't say it enough, is partnerships. It's everything from our bold vision, we're going to build an engineering college of the future, to an unprecedented investment in the fine and performing arts, to innovative efforts to prepare the next generation of teachers, to record-setting physics research. It's all possible because we're working together to make it happen. With generous private donors, elected leaders, with whom we have historic partnership on deferred maintenance with other Nebraskans. Partnerships will be the way forward as we continue to grow our workforce and meet the needs of Nebraskans. In that vein, as you saw earlier this week, the legislature approved and the governor has signed a mid-biennium budget package that included investments in key university priorities. Agricultural Innovation Facility at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. This is envisioned as a companion to the planned USDA facility, which will be a place where public and private partners will work together on research and tech transfer to meet the needs of our state's most important industry. Pancreatic Cancer Research Center at UNMC. This will build on the long history of UNMC expertise. It's going to give us new hope to patients facing one of the most lethal forms of cancer. Both of these projects are game changers for Nebraska. Agriculture and healthcare are the areas that matter most to every Nebraskan. I want to just say how excited we are about these bold initiatives to improve quality of life and grow our state. And I would be remiss, even though these folks aren't here, if I did not say thank you to Senator Matt Williams, Mark Colterman for introducing these projects, to Chairman Stinner, Vice Chairman Wishart, and the Appropriations Committee for supporting them, and to the full legislature for its thoughtful work in sending a budget package to our governor. The governor's signature is going to make a real difference for Nebraskans, and we are grateful for his support. And I want to credit the chancellors for bringing forth big ideas that will move the needle for our state. Additionally, just yesterday, the legislature gave final approval to the American Rescue Plan Appropriations Bill, ARPA, including $60 million for the UNC-UNMC Rural Health Complex. Now that package will be going to the governor for consideration. I'm very grateful for the strong legislative support for this proposal. This is a bold effort from Chancellor Christensen, Chancellor Gold, and our campus teams to change the very trajectory for rural Nebraska, as we heard some of what has happened with K-HOP. This is exactly the type of big idea we envisioned when we were developing our list of ARPA proposals. Solutions that only the University of Nebraska could deliver for the people of Nebraska. It's an exciting opportunity for our entire state, building on a proven record of collaboration between UNK and UNMC. In other news related to partnerships, I recently joined with members of the legislature and other education leaders to announce an ambitious new educational attainment goal for our state. Some of you may have heard of this. It might have flown a little bit under the radar, so I thought it'd be appropriate to highlight that today. The goal is for 70% of our 25 to 34-year-olds to have post-secondary education credentials by the year 2030. Let me say that again, 70% of our youngest talent in the state of Nebraska to have post-secondary credentials by the year 2030. If we were to meet that goal, we would be a top 10 in that category in the nation. Today, we're at 58%. We have a long way to go. I just want to tell you how much we need to all work together to reach that goal. It's going to take all of us, not just the university system, but community colleges, state colleges, and our elected leaders. I want to, again, thank Senator Lynn Waltz for her leadership on this effort, and our colleagues in the Education Committee for their support. Our University of Nebraska is fully supportive. I believe increasing the number of Nebraskans with, in our case, a 4-year degree is particularly important for part of this strategy. The jobs that will exist in 2030 and beyond, many of them don't even exist yet. We don't even know what they are. But most of our young people will not be able to get those jobs without that 4-year degree. What will we do to contribute? Growing education attainment starts with expanding access and affordability, so every Nebraskan can attend the University of Nebraska regardless of their socioeconomic status. Now, we've talked about the new Nebraska Promise threshold, $65,000 for qualifying for that as a Nebraska resident. Today, we have 7,000 students that are already taking part of that program, and we estimate about 200 additional current students that are already enrolled will be covered, not to mention students who will be applying in this upcoming year. We moved the federal aid application deadline to June 1st. That will apply greater flexibility for our students and their families. Tuition freeze, that's extending from 2022 to 2023. Many institutions across the nation froze tuition, but for only 1 year during COVID. We were one of the few institutions in the United States that froze it for 2 years across the board for every student. And that gives predictability to our families and something that we stand on when we say affordability and accessibility matters. We put a new 4-year graduation guarantee that was approved by this board, working collaborative with our higher ed partners to increase transfer opportunities so that students can seamlessly transfer to a university campus after earning their associate's degree from a community college. Just the other day, UNK announced a new business pathway program with Central Community College that will allow students to earn an associate's degree, then transfer those credits to UNK in a variety of business fields. This is an excellent example of how we can work together to serve students, grow attainment, and build the workforce. Online learning. Jackie Lindberg in the audience today, a key part of our strategy. Great opportunities to leverage technology to make our University of Nebraska education accessible to even more students, to include adult learners. I'm very excited about what we have in the works to help more students earn credentials or finish their degrees through our online programs, whether they be military learners, working adults, rural Nebraskans, or others looking to enhance their skill sets. Continuing to be innovative about our academic calendar. The 2022-23 academic calendar included in your reports today is uniform for all of our undergraduate campuses and includes a 3-week winterim period, a strategy that came out of COVID in which we believe we can have a positive impact on retention and time to degree. So more to come as we begin work on this attainment goal. I want to thank the board for their focus on creating access and opportunity for students. It makes an important difference for our Nebraskans and our economic growth. I'm very excited to finish the semester strong. The spring football game tomorrow. It's a sign of hope and vitality. I hope to see all of you at Memorial Stadium tomorrow. It's actually going to be above 60 degrees, and I'm told the wind will be below 20 knots for you nautical types. So it'll be a great day. Thank you all for your attention. Again, congratulations to our student regents. I'd like to now turn it back over to our chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the section of our agenda where we provide for some public comment. Standing rules of the board provide that any person may appear and address the board on items that are not on today's agenda for action. Each person wishing to speak has a 3-minute timeline to make their remarks. We've been contacted by 11 people who wish to speak today on topics that are not on today's agenda for action. So when your name is called, please come forward, identify yourself, complete the sign-in sheet if you've not yet done it, and we would welcome your comments. Mr. Ryan Martz, present today, okay? He's asked to speak on fossil fuel divestment.
Hello, my name is Ryan Martz, and I'm a junior at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I've been passionate about weather and climate since I was 7 years old, and now I'm a meteorology and climatology major with a climate minor as well. It's frustrating for me to learn about the extreme urgency of the issue of climate change in the classroom, and then to turn around and see my administration not listen to its own professors and research by not taking any strong action to combat climate change. It's frustrating that when I tell students and staff at this university that my major is meteorology climatology, they will ask, so how bad is climate change really? And every time I have to say that yes, it is really that bad, and dispel misinformation that they've learned. Each time I get asked this question, it's frustrating to think about how the administration is failing the people that it was meant to serve with a lack of aggressive climate change policies, deceiving its students and lulling its staff into thinking that the climate crisis is not something that affects them. As a near lifelong Minnesotan, it is frustrating to see my home school of the University of Minnesota, along with other Big Ten schools in Rutgers and Michigan, commit to divestment while I sit here and wonder if I made the wrong choice about which university would support not just me and my fellow students, but the community around it as well. It's frustrating to hear my students testify and say, we know that this will take time and we know it isn't an overnight process. And then to hear the administration say, you need to understand that this takes time, it's not an overnight process. We know. We also know that the more that we hear this, it becomes clear that it's not a rationale for a lengthy divestment process as much as it is an excuse for not starting and putting off the work, like a college student trying to pretend that their final project does not exist. It's frustrating to know that I will more than likely be back here in the fall, but I will be, and so will my fellow students, until you decide to actually divest.
Madison Zuko.
Hello, my name is Madison Zuko, and I'm a senior at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and a core member of DivestNU. This will be my last time testifying to the Board of Regents as a student, and I want to share the frustration I have about your inaction on climate change and divestment. We have shared stories of our communities being harmed by the fossil fuel industries in North Omaha, have held meetings with administration to understand investment portfolios, and have rallied support on all 4 campuses. But this seems to mean nothing to you. To some of you sitting here, the profit that we get from a dying industry or clout in a political campaign is more important than the lives of the students sitting here today. I'm ashamed to be graduating from a university that has such a backwards mindset on this issue. I will be moving to Washington, D.C. in 2 months to work on an environmental policy organization, and I would like to share the positive experiences I've had here and the knowledge I've gained. But I can assure you that the university's lack of commitment on divestment will definitely be shared more. As I leave UNL, what does bring me hope is the plethora of new students and leaders in our community who will continue this fight. Our movement is continuing to grow, and someday soon you will not have the luxury to ignore it. We will not stop until a just transition to full divestment is announced. Thank you.
Yes, I think we have Ayla Ganick. Hope I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't.
Good morning. My name is Ayla Ganic, and I am a senior at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. With this being my last opportunity to testify as a student, I spent lots of time reflecting on why I will be leaving Nebraska in a few months, why divestment has been such an exhausting fight, and what I wanted to say before I graduate. Unlike what our governor may think, young people aren't leaving Nebraska because of taxes. We're leaving Nebraska because we don't see a future here where our state leaders continuously ignore the ever-growing climate crisis. Not divesting from an industry that spews poisonous gas into our communities is ignoring the climate crisis. Young people will continue leaving the state until we have leaders that prioritize our future, not their personal profit. While the students leading Divest NU may constantly rotate through our 3 to 5 year intervals at the University of Nebraska, I want to be clear that our demands will not go away. Divestment is inevitable, and only more pressure will be put on the university as peer institutions continue to divest. The Nebraska university system has a lot to gain from being ahead of the curve in divesting. That means there's a lot to lose from waiting until the choice is already made for us, such as losing our reputation as a forward-thinking, innovative university that listens to its students. I urge you all to commit to 100% divestment from fossil fuels. And while I'm here, I want to sincerely thank the student regents this year for your guidance and support with divestment. You all are true advocates. Thank you for your time.
Abigail Ritter.
Hello, my name is Abby Ritter. I am a junior currently at Lincoln. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that we don't live in a starkly red state. I'm not blind to the current governor campaign that's kind of turned into a battle for the most conservative. However, I want to remind you that divestment isn't inherently political. We don't have ties to any political party, nor has any political party supported us outright. We are an independent organization asking for an investment in our future. Divestment is a campaign fighting for a common sense approach. We're reinvesting money, by reinvesting money into renewable energy, we are investing money into our farmers who can increase profits by using windmills within their fields. We're reinvesting money into renewables that help ranchers who have an opportunity to utilize their rangelands for a combination of both solar and grazing. Reinvesting into renewables reduces pollution in our cities, decreasing asthma and other respiratory diseases. Nebraska has so much potential for renewable energy, and by divesting from fossil fuels, we are investing in Nebraska. Reinvesting into renewables is reinvesting into our future. As a Board of Regents, you represent the state of Nebraska, but more importantly, you represent the students of Nebraska. No matter how many times you say that there are people fighting on both sides of this issue, I have yet to see the other side actively participate and advocate like we have. Thank you to the wonderful student regents who have helped us out this year and really listened to what we have had to say and has helped us move our campaign along, and as well to our fantastic graduating members of Divestment. We have a lot coming up. We're working with other Big Ten universities right now to make a system-wide movement, and I'm excited to continue fighting for this because I know we're in it for the long haul. So thank you.
Thank you. Nora Lucas. Yes.
Hello, my name is Nora Lucas, and next month I will graduate from the University of Nebraska. Part of me is proud to have completed my undergraduate degree. Another part of me is embarrassed. I have completed a degree in climate science, but my own university invests in fossil fuels. We have a chancellor enthusiastically promoting research in climate solutions, but students have time and time again presented a solution, and it continues to be ignored. Divesting from fossil fuels does not mean a loss of funds. Instead, you have the unique opportunity to invest in renewable energy, a growing market estimated at $882 billion. We have an endless amount of wind and sun energy to utilize, and we can support Nebraska businesses in the process. Unfortunately, fossil fuels don't only affect investments. They affect our ability to breathe, eat, drink, and bathe. I'd like for you to take a moment and think about your grandchildren. You will not have to live with the consequences of this decision, but they will. If you do not divest from fossil fuels, they will grow up in a world that is unlivable. There will be no more fishing on the river because the Rockies won't have snow. When they do get rain, they will experience up to 17 floods as devastating as in 2019. Is this a world that you would like for your family? If it's not, divest. Thank you.
And William Barnes.
Morning. My name is William Barnes, and I'm a senior that's about to graduate here next month. My major is meteorology climatology, and I'm also earning a mathematics minor. Came back to school later as an adult to build my education so I can directly address climatic changes because our administrative bodies have failed to act. Before I came back to school, I worked for the state for 3.5 years as a corrections officer. As a corporal, I worked at Tecumseh State Correctional Facility and served on the Corrections Emergency Response Team, or CERT, and defended my state multiple times from dangerous inmates. Those of us that don't know what CERT team does, we worked as part of a special task force to put down riotous activity in our correctional facilities. I, with my team, worked to put down the Mother's Day riot of 2015, along with several other inmate disturbances that took place right here in Lincoln at Nebraska State Penitentiary. So I've never been shy when it came to hard work, and I've continued the same ideals as a student. Nebraskans have been fortunate to have dodged many of the effects of climate change. However, it is only a matter of time before we experience them regularly. I find it infuriating that our university will tout how strong our motivations are when it comes to climate challenges, and will even pull instructors out of the class to discuss how to address them, only to find that the administration is lacking in real leadership when it comes to energy divestments. Nebraska has opportunities to be front runners in innovation and energy production for the United States. Yet, it is always our administrative bodies and their lack of resolve to make this happen. Now, here we are at the university level, where most of our technology and innovations stem from. And we cannot even lead by example for the rest of the state by divesting our funds outside of fossil fuels. So I'm here to say to the board that the time is now. Now is the time to build a strong and prosperous future for our university. Now is the time to bring our A game and stop making excuses. Are we to see every other Big Ten university surpass us before you decide to do the right thing? Divest our funds away from fossil fuels. Your students expect better from you. Thank you for your time.
Daniel Weitzel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Weitzel. I'm a master's student from University of Nebraska. I worked as a graduate research assistant, and this is my last semester here. Now, it came all the way to Lincoln from Kentucky, and one thing I noticed how much windier it was. I mean, just the other day or so, it was like extremely gusty, almost swept me off my feet. But, and that's where we have so great opportunity. I noticed how very little investment we had in wind energy. Now, I expect that wind energy to ramp up over the next decade or so, and we enjoy our great opportunities. I want you to take a look and take advantage of that opportunity. And thus, hopefully we'll divest from fossils, hopefully get some renewables. And finally, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to have me here.
Zach Neal. Zach, are you present? Apparently not. Helen Greer.
Thank you all for giving us an opportunity to talk to you today. I'm actually Reverend Helen Greer.
I'm an ordained pastor in the United Church of Christ, and I go by Penny. Some of you may know by that name. I'm an unusual student here at the university. I'm a post-undergraduate graduate student, and I've been taking classes in climate and now meteorology for the past 11 years. I'm a member of the Burnett Society. It's very important to me to have taken part of my family's trust and have willed it to the university in a variety of areas. I hope to graduate with a Master's of Science in Applied Climate in the next several years. Let me give you a quick background for myself. I grew up here in Lincoln. I'm the granddaughter of William Aitken. I'm named after his wife, Helen, and he started Woods Aitken Law Firm. Some of you know that firm, and my father, John Taylor Greer, worked there for 55 years. I grew up with the smell of law books. I connected it to the smell of wonderful scholarship when I first got to love library when I was 15 years of age, working on a science project in high school here in Lincoln, Lincoln Southeast. I'm a graduate of Wellesley College, 1974, Harvard Divinity School in 1980. I was ordained and served churches for 35 years, 15 of them to be exact, in 7 states. I'm a professional interim conflict pastor. I've often helped churches when they've been dealing with conflict, and tough conflict at that. After 10 years, I entered a PhD program in theology at Boston University, hoping to teach part-time while I also worked as a pastor. But one of my parishioners, who was an environmental biologist, suggested that I would make much more headway if I switched over to the natural sciences and understood one of them thoroughly. I chose geology. I received a second bachelor's in geology in 2006 at the University of Southern Indiana, and I moved back here to Lincoln, my home place, in 2010, first taking geology classes, but increasingly climate, as I realized that dealing with the warming climate, understanding it thoroughly, and communicating it clearly, which I can do as a pastor, would be what I would do until the end of my life.
Minute.
Divestment is something that is indirect. My first job coming out of Wellesley College was to work in a brokerage firm in Boston. I saw the ticker every single day. When you sell, someone buys. That's how it works in the investment world. Either you're selling stocks, probably not as rapidly bonds, or mutual funds, whatever you're doing. It's not that you're doing that per se. It's the statement that you make when you do so, joining a number of other educational institutions and fiduciary institutions as well, such as the Ford Foundation. I'm very proud to say that Harvard University made that choice quite recently to divest its holdings of it from its $40 billion endowment. Basically, what we learned after the Glasgow climate meeting is that we have so much gas and coal that can be developed that the oil and gas companies own at this time and are planning to develop, that we will go way over what we can possibly do. When we divest and make a statement that we have done so, we are telling the world that we cannot continue in this direction, and it is essential that we do that. To add to all of the achievements that you just mentioned, President Carter, the university is also receiving $100,000 from the appropriations bill that was just approved, with another LB that was approved, actually voted on yesterday, that will allow for a new understanding of how we can revise the University of Nebraska report from 2014 and also help the state with climate planning that it needs to do. This is a university that is committed to helping people deal with climate, and that new money will help you do so even better. If this body chooses to take the funds over which you have direct responsibility and divest from companies involved in the fossil fuel industry, making a statement to that fact, you will continue to be the leaders that you are in this area. Thank you so much for listening.
Carissa Englert. Carissa? Nathan Aronson.
Hi, my name is Nathan Aronson. I live here in Lincoln.
President Carter, Chancellor Green, Honorable Chair Ferris, and Vice Chair Claire, and honorable members of the board. Several years ago, I survived a brutal, forcible sexual assault of me by a local child welfare service provider. The provider came into my home, ostensibly to help my child and I after I survived another individual's earlier attack on me several months before. And the provider proceeded to brutally sexually assault me in my emotionally vulnerable state. Today, thanks to the diligent efforts of the Lancaster County District Court and the Nebraska Secretary of State's Address Confidentiality Program for domestic and sexual assault survivors, my child and I now live in a confidential location. However, the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Center on Children, Families, and the Law, also known as CCFL, made fleeing to safety as hopeless and terrifying as possible. When I fled in August of 2020 and asked a state child welfare worker to help my child and I, that worker, a former student of CCFL, dismissed my requests and told me to go live in a homeless shelter with my child, then 2 years old, at the height of the global pandemic. When the Nebraska Ombudsman's Office inquired with state officials about that worker's behavior, their supervisor, also a former student of CCFL, angrily called me and harassed me for 40 minutes, mocking and dismissing my trauma by saying, "If you felt so unsafe, why did you stay? Why did you wait 2 days to report an assault? Why did you not call the police while you were being assaulted?" This is all just a he said, she said. In violation of Title IX, CCFL faculty instruct their students to say such things in their work for the state of Nebraska. Before you, I have provided it to the board and it should be in your packet, is a class slide from the CCFL course that those workers are required to take. They're required to take 13 hours upon becoming a DCFS, child welfare worker.
1 minute.
It is one of over 100 CCFL slides obtained by the Ombudsman's Office. As the slide instructs, when a man, quote, believes he is a victim, unquote, of physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, students should assume him to be the perpetrator. The slide's instructor notes state in reference to him, quote, recognize they are skillful liars and refuse to take sole responsibility for their behavior, blaming others for causing their behaviors. They can tell you how it's everyone else's fault, unquote. The instructor notes go on to say that the very act of stating that they are a victim of abuse, quote, is a clear manipulation tactic, unquote. The notes then underline those words. If the individual persists in stating that they are a victim of abuse, the instructor notes state, quote, the conversation should be regularly redirected back to their behavior, unquote. I thoroughly condemn men who make any false claims of abuse to deceive officials. But President Carter, Chancellor Green, members of the board must do better than such open sex discrimination by faculty. Title IX requires it of you. Please help me as a survivor as I protect the health and safety of my child and myself. Please eliminate CCFL's pattern of sex discrimination, sexual harassment, intolerance of domestic violence, and sexual assault. Thank you for your time.
We also have received written testimony from Jacob Drake and Ann Cluth, both relating to fossil fuel divestment, and we will get that information out to the board for your review. The standing rules of our excuse me, of our board also provide that anyone desiring to speak on an item that is on the agenda for action at this meeting, regardless of the notice time, may do so. Felicia Hilton has indicated that she would like to address the board today.
Good morning, fellow regents. Thank you for taking the opportunity to hear my testimony. I am Felicia Hilton, the political director for the North Central States Regional Council of Carpenters, and this is the beginning of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters Tax Fraud Day of Action, or Tax Fraud Week of Action in construction. And I know we've reached out to a few board members to try and set up a meeting to talk about what we mean by construction tax fraud. But what we're really stating is that as the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, we too invest in education. We invest 70 cents of every hour worked in the field back into our apprenticeship training, which is earn while you learn. We are science, technology, engineering, and math applied. You can't do it without having those aspects. If you go to any training, you'll see a bunch of math on the board that I definitely don't understand. But I say that in the context of addressing Section B under Business and Finance, number 3 and 4. When it comes to the budget for the architecture complex and the name replacement of Mabel Lee Hall. And I say that because tax fraud in the construction industry is when we have the practice of what we call labor brokers that bring in workers from out of state to basically build construction projects. And when we say it's tax fraud, it's because they're working for cash under the table without payroll taxes, without work comp or unemployment insurance being paid, as well as state and federal taxes being paid as well. We think it's a loss to the community in recouping tax revenue that way, but our biggest concern is carpenters and tons of other construction workers working on projects funded by taxpayer dollars, the generosity of the taxpayers in the state of Nebraska, as from 2019 until now, giving the university a ton of money to build to build projects, as well as look at the deferred maintenance of about $800 million that the university has earmarked to be done. And our biggest concern are these workers working on these university projects that have been funded by taxpayer dollars, and they're working without work comp. That's one of our biggest issues. When workers get injured on the project, they then fall on the taxpayer of Nebraska's dime when they go into public health care. And so what we'd like to do is partner with the regents, with you guys, to really come up with a clean vetting process to figure out how to vet contractors, especially the second-tier contractor, from bringing in third-tier contractors, which we call labor brokers, that are bringing in workers from out of state to build the University of Nebraska projects. It's happening right now on 3 projects that are taking place, or that are being built today. Mabel Lee Hall, it's happening there. It's happening at the new athletic center, and it's happening at Barkley Memorial. Right now, as we speak, there are labor brokers on the project with a number of workers that are working without being paid, or without being paid cash, or I'm sorry, with being paid cash and without being paid on a real payroll. They're misclassified as independent contractors, and they are not. They are being brought into the state of Nebraska to build the university projects. Now, we're happy with all of the LBs that have passed from 2019, the $400 million that you guys made on the $340 million that you bonded, and then you refinanced it, made an additional $130 million. We're happy about that. We want to see the investment in the university and the university continue to build projects. That's not our issue. Our issue is that there are legitimate businesses, legitimate contractors, union and non-union, that cannot compete for this work, that cannot submit a bid for this work because they don't practice this model. And we think it's a horrible business model, and that the university should not support a business model like this. And there's ways in which you can figure out which contractors practice this and which ones don't. And it's a simple vetting process. It's a few questions that can be asked by the board, but it would guarantee a couple of things: that your project doesn't have a bunch of change orders and cost overruns. And it would also guarantee that it's actual people that live in Nebraska that are building these projects. And so we have a number of young apprentices that live in Nebraska right now that are coming down to Omaha or Papillion for training. But guess what? When it comes to the pipeline of actual work of apprentices into the field, they can't come and do the work at the University of Nebraska because it's labor brokers doing the work at the University of Nebraska on a number of projects. So we'd appreciate just being able to get a response. I know we've talked with Regent O'Connor. We've reached out to Regent Whites. We've reached out to folks, and we'd just like to be able to really talk with you guys and come up with a process to make sure that construction workers that are building these projects, especially the major maintenance projects in the future, all the way up to 2062, are not being built this way. And thank you so much for hearing us today.
Is there is there anyone else present today who would like to address the board on any other items that are on our agenda for consideration later today? Seeing none, I would declare that the time for public comment has now been closed. We have also a consent agenda item, which is where a number of items are grouped together that normally can be considered all together as those consent things rather than pulled out and dealt with individually. So unless one of my colleagues wishes to consider any of these items on the administrative agenda, I would invite a motion to approve the consent agenda. Made by Regent Kenny, second. I heard a couple here, Regent Schaefer for one. Any comments? Call the roll, please.
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Claire? Yes. Regent Kenny?
Yes.
The motion passes.
That brings us then to the administrative agenda, and I would ask that President Carter guide us through the administrative agenda.
Under Academic Affairs, item 11A1 requests approval to amend and restate the charter of the Peter Kiewit Institute of Information Science, Technology, and Engineering. This cleanup item aligns the PKI charter with current practice, designating the deans of the UNL College of Engineering and the UNO College of Information Science and Technology as primary stewards of the programs supported by the Institute. Approval of this item will permit the deans to access philanthropic support held by the University of Nebraska Foundation for student support and program development. The proposed amendments to the PKI charter are supported by the Institute's philanthropic supporters. This item was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve? Claire, second. Okay. Any discussion? Let's call the roll.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Claire?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Unless there is an objection, I recommend the board consider items 11A2 and 11A3 together. Item 11A2 requests approval to create the Master of Science in Athletic Training, and item 11A3 requests approval to eliminate the Bachelor of Science in Athletic Training, both at UNL. The Commission on the Accreditation of Athletic Training Education will no longer allow athletic training programs to enroll students in bachelor's degree programs after the start of the fall of 2022 term. As such, the university must discontinue the bachelor's degree program and transition to a master's degree program. UNK and UNO have already made this transition. It is anticipated that most students will complete the bachelor's in nutrition, exercise, and health sciences before entering the master's in athletic training program going forward. These items have been reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend them to you for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11A2 and 3 together?
So moved.
Second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Regent Hemmer,
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim,
Yes.
Regent Cradaville,
Yes.
Regent Limbach,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Claire, Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11A4 requests approval to create a special education K-6 major within the Bachelor of Science in Education and Human Sciences. This proposed major is designed to provide a pathway for students who are interested only in special education at the primary grade level, so they may focus solely on this field and complete their bachelor's degree in 4 years. Upon completion of this new major, students will be eligible for the Special Education K-6 endorsement offered by the Nebraska Department of Education. This item was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion?
Make it.
Paul? Barb, second. Any question or discussion? Call the roll.
Regent Ibrahim,
Yes.
Regent Cradaville,
Yes.
Regent Limbach,
Yes.
Regent Hemmer,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Claire,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 11A5 seeks your approval to create a graduate certificate in urban design at UNL. If approved, this could be a stackable certificate designed to provide students with the knowledge to integrate design and planning approaches to create more resilient, sustainable, attractive, and inclusive built environments. Credits can be applied toward the master's in community and regional planning, too. This item was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Barb, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Call the roll.
Regent Cradaville,
Yes.
Regent Limbach,
Yes.
Regent Hemmer,
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Claire, Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11A6 requests approval to establish the Nebraska Center for Women's Health Research at UNMC. The center's goal is to bring together multidisciplinary scientists from across the university to facilitate collaborative, translational, and clinical research relevant to pressing women's health conditions. This item was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Second?
Second.
Seconded by Barb. Any discussion?
Jeff, I think this would be a good one to comment on.
Well, thank you. Just to say that the University of Nebraska Medical Center does a tremendous amount of research into women's health-related issues. What this center structure will do will allow for better coordination and organization of those programs. I'm sure the Board of Regents is well aware of how important this is, particularly in this day and age, and I very much appreciate your consideration of this. It will be housed in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology under the banner of the Olson Center at UNMC.
Thank you, Chancellor, for those additional remarks.
A personal note, I'm especially proud of this because I grew up in an era where there was not research done on women because our hormonal cycles screwed up the outcomes. So this kind of research is really welcome, and it's about time.
Okay. Call the roll. I'm sorry.
This program I'm familiar with will allow us to gain more research funding, and the multidisciplinary approach is very impressive. So kudos to your whole staff, Dr. Gold.
Okay, Phil, call the roll.
Regent Limbach,
Yes.
Regent Hemmer, Regent Ibrahim,
Yes.
Regent Cradaville,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Claire, Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Ferris,
Yes.
Regent Pillen,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Under Business and Finance, item 11B1 requests approval to authorize the president or his designee to finalize negotiations and to execute record-keeping and investment fund agreements to administer the University of Nebraska retirement plan. This is a good news story. Our CFO, Chris Kaborg, and a 9-member committee of NU faculty and staff reviewed the university's retirement plan, a review that hadn't occurred for decades. The changes recommended are in line with best practices and are supported by 30-plus finance faculty from across the university. The end result will be a more streamlined, lower-cost investment menu with the opportunity for sophisticated investors to opt out into self-directed brokerage window. The plan will also transition to a more transparent fixed-dollar record-keeping fee. Bottom line, these changes will result in about $11 million in savings annually to the university employees and retirees. I want to say that again. Thanks to the good work of our faculty and staff committee, our employees and retirees will realize $11 million in savings annually. So I want to say great work taking care of our most important asset, our people. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Okay, so is there a second? Second. Any other discussion, questions?
I'd like the Vice President to comment on it. Great work.
I can't take any credit. Very dedicated group of faculty and staff that have spent about a year on this, so it'll be a great program for our employees, and we're looking forward to implementing.
Let me reinforce the comments that were made earlier. This is not a savings to the university's budget. No. This is a savings to the participants in the plan. Their costs of being a participant in the plan will go down. So it will be of benefit to all of our employees. Any other questions, comments? Call the roll.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B2 seeks your approval to authorize the president to approve terms and conditions to complete the purchase of real property at 803 West 25th Street in Kearney. This property is right at the east entrance to the UNK campus and surrounded by an existing UNK parking lot and long been an acquisition target. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Regent Clare has made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Vic, there's 2 or 3 there. Any questions? Discussion? Tim?
Again, I assume this was taken care of, the appraisal on from the value, and then the inspections most notably will be radon and mold, and I assume that's been done as well. Correct?
Other questions? Call the roll.
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer? Yes. Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Yes. The motion passes.
Item 11B3 requests approval of the program statement and budget for the Architecture Complex project at UNL. The proposed $13.7 million project includes LB 384 upgrades in 5 primary areas. Utilities serving Architecture Hall West from the north. Mechanical and electrical systems serving Architecture Hall West. Code deficiencies and means of egress and plumbing fixture counts. ADA and other functional deficiencies and the stacks addition and other miscellaneous deferred maintenance items like building envelope repairs. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Second. Any questions, further discussion?
It's more of a comment. I want to congratulate Kathy Ankerson on her great leadership in growing the College of Architecture. It was 1 foot on a banana peel not too long ago, and she really took it under her wing and did a great job. And now it's a thriving, robust college, and kudos to you.
And I would like to ensure our visitors that are here today that have expressed some concerns about this area that we will take a serious look at your concerns as we move forward with this project. Other questions? Comments? Call the roll.
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Claire?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B4 requests approval to name the Mabel Lee Hall Replacement Building Carolyn Pope Edwards Hall. Dr. Edwards' life mission was raising the quality of young children's education by understanding how children develop and thrive cognitively, socially, and morally. In tireless pursuit of that mission, Dr. Edwards taught and mentored undergraduate students and graduate students on campus and through study tours abroad. In addition, she traveled extensively throughout the world educating child care professionals and giving countless public addresses, workshops, and teacher training sessions. Among many honors, Dr. Edwards received NU's Outstanding Research and Creativity Activity Award, our highest research honor. Some might ask, how will we continue honoring Dr. Mabel Lee, for whom the previous building was named? The intramural sports fields to the east of the new building have been aptly named Mabel Lee Fields in recognition of Dr. Lee's contributions to women's physical well-being through intramural activities on campus. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
A motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Excuse me, any question or discussion? Comment?
I do want to say Dr. Edwards was really a giant in her field, and not only had an impact in Nebraska, but like President Carter said, literally the world. So I'm really excited to see this.
Yes,
I was
sir?
just going to say what Regent Ibrahim just said. Carolyn Pope Edwards was indeed one of the top 5 in her field in the world. We unfortunately lost Dr. Edwards to cancer a few years ago, and the faculty brought forward the recommendation to name the new facility in her honor. So it's a big deal.
And just for the benefit of our audience and other participants, the process doesn't end here. If this is approved, then the next step is what we call the program statement, which is the final putting together of the things that are come and are reviewed. Sure that the intermediate design meets our criteria.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Hemmer?
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Ferris? Yes. Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Claire?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 11B6 requests your approval to designate an unrestricted bequest from Dale E. Adams Estate to create the Dale Adams Lead Center Fund at UNL as a quasi-endowment. Regents Policy 6.6.4 requires board approval to establish a quasi-endowment. Quasi-endowments, when so designated, stipulate that the corpus of the endowment be maintained and invested in perpetuity or until further board action, allowing investment earnings to be used for the donor's stated purpose. By accepting this bequest and establishing this fund, the university expresses its deepest gratitude and appreciation to Dale E. Adams. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Is there a motion? Okay. Second. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Then let's call the roll, please.
Regent Hammer?
Yes.
Regent Ibrahim?
Yes.
Regent Cradaville?
Yes.
Regent Limbach?
Yes.
Regent Pillen?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Claire? Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Ferris?
Yes.
The motion passes.
All
Final-
right.
Finally, there are numerous reports for your review.
I would just call to your attention again that there are some pretty significant things that come in this report. If you're like I was at one point in time, you get to the end of that, you skip it over pretty quickly. Don't do that. There's some good information in there. Changes to the academic calendar that the president referred to earlier are significant. Report on the gifts and the grants and the contracts. The report that tells you the status of the capital construction projects are important, so you know where things are. And the report on bids and contracts that are there. So there's good information there. It's worthy of some of your time as you look at it. So I would accept these reports on behalf of the board and ask the secretary to include those in the minutes of this meeting. Any other business that we need to consider? Not, I declare that we are now adjourned. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention.